Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will, where we share international insights and perspectives and some levity on things such as leadership and mindset for Monday Mindset, travel in the travel industry on Wanderlust Wednesday, and sports on Fanatic Friday. Each episode is about 20 to 30 minutes in length. You can find us on all major platforms besides the one you just found us on now if you're listening to this. And want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our today's sponsor. Thank you, Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations.
Absolutely. Hello, winners. How are you doing today?
Yeah, here we are, Wanderlust Wednesday, and we have an exciting show for you today. We're going to chat about a nuance that some people are aware of, but I think a lot of people could take advantage of, and that's group travel. So before we jump into the questions, anything you want to kind of give as far as a high level around groups, or you want to jump right into it?
Let's jump right into it.
All right. Well, when you think about in the travel industry, I love it. Let's just get to it. When you think about the travel industry, how, in your words, would you define group travel, Nick?
Well, there are a lot of variants based on groups. So when I start a travel agency, the first thing I ask, my peers and other agents is like, okay, what is considered a group? And I receive 7 different answers because it depends, are we talking all-inclusive resort? Are we talking hotels? Are we talking cruises, river or ocean? It's also very different. So every vendors have different, like guideline about what a group should be, what size of a group is actually a group. So that's the nuance. People know about different style of groups, of course. The first that comes to mind is, of course, wedding. Mm-hmm. Okay, so weddings, it's a group that we can do for travel. But we have others. You have your company, mm-hmm. The corporate events, business events. You can have a group within America, those are domestic groups, but you can do internationally. So those change as well in the way the group are formed. You have so many different variants, but a rule of thumb is you can start having groups as low as 5 to 10 rooms for some hotels and resorts. Usually it's 8 to 10. And for cruises, usually it's around 16 people, or in some case, 6 staterooms to 10 staterooms from some others. So that's a rule of thumb. It's very wide range, but it's what it is. So if you go with your brother and his wife and a neighbor, that's not considered a group. A group needs to be a minimum usually of 6 stateroom for a cruise, a minimum 5, a big minimum 5 for a domestic hotel.
Okay, great. No, that's helpful. That's very helpful. And, I'm sure you mentioned weddings, and people probably who have participated in group travel, that may be a likely way that they had awareness of it, but, or like leveraging agents, obviously, to help do it. But when you think about individual travelers or, couples, like, is there a way that they can leverage groups at all? Or
that's a great question. Yeah. So absolutely. The reason why some groups are private. So for example, you decided to take 50 people of your organization, like a winner circle or a president club. We all know those, those specific like top performer kind of travel. You will expect to have a private group for that. Mm-hmm. So you don't want anyone like Joe the neighbor to be able to jump in and be part of your group. Okay?
Or a wedding crasher if it's a wedding.
Yeah, wedding crasher. Exactly. But you have also people that can easily open a group, or a travel agent will say, listen, you know what? There are like 4 people who ask me about the same cruise, but they're not together. Or they are together. But they said, hey, can you get us a better price? Well, here's the kicker. I cannot guarantee you a better price, but I can open up a group for this cruise, for example. And if we reach 8 cabins, then we get into the group pricing and we're able to get you some higher onboard credit or some discount on the cruise or whatever it can can be. Okay. So that's something that happens a lot, definitely for cruises, a lot more than for land. It's the ability to say, you know what, I want to advertise this cruise at those dates. And I have already 2-3 bookings on that one. Let's open up. And they open up that for all agent.
Okay.
So usually, you cannot go, if you are not an agent, you cannot go and find those pricing. But if you talk to your travel agent, you will be able to know if there are any open group pricing available in the cruise that you want to do. Something also very important, those group cruising are always way in advance. So there's not like, you cannot find something like that if you're leaving within 3 months. It's going to be very rare. But if you plan way in advance, that's where you can find group pricing in those. I know a lot of travel agents. I did that as well sometimes. I mean, I still do it. When I have 2 cabins who are ready and it's a year from now, I may open it as a group. And it's only going to get a group when it gets to the whatever limitation this cruise lines is giving me.
Yeah, the minimum
and then
size.
The minimum size.
Right.
And then it incentivizes the people to advertise themselves. So they said, hey guys, we're going on this cruise on that date. Here's the itinerary. Who else would be interested to go? So the travel agent can do that on their platform, but also the clients can start doing that, because the more people sail on the same dates, the more the chance for a better discount or a higher onboard credit. So
that sounds really fascinating as well for people who might be considering a safari.
Yes, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. So no, that's very helpful. When you think about, you touched on the pricing. I think most people probably thinking, hey, I'm in a group that I'm going to get price incentives because of things like that. But I know it's not simply that straightforward and clear and easy. So like, what are some factors or differentiations that you may find, and I know it varies, but whether somebody may get an incentive or whether it's not, it's just more of a coordinated effort?
Yeah, so usually always get some kind of benefits financially, but it's not as big in some instance as some people think. So I had recently someone calling for a wedding in Vegas. So I do some weddings in Vegas the last year and a half. I did like a few of them. And, the expectation is, can I get like a free room for the wets and stuff like that? So yes, if you get like 20, 25 rooms for like 4 or 5 days, you may get at some point to a certain level where they will tell me, well, the wet or someone can get 2 free nights, something like that. But it's not like every single person will get that. Usually the last one I did, majority of the time you get $25 to $50 discount for your trip per couple. So per room. So it's not a huge difference when you pay like $250 per night. You stay 4 nights, so it's $1,000. You get $25 or $50 discounts. Oh, yeah. So it's not gonna be like life-changing kind of discounts. Now, if you do internationally, if you go, for example, you're talking like safari. If you do a safari, when you get to a certain level, then it's really, really interesting. Of course, more to come. Cruise is the same. Like when you do cruising, you can literally have like some incentive that give you like another $200, $250 onboard credit that you can use for whatever, or the price of the cruise is like 5-10% cheaper because you are on a cruise pricing. So, and again, it all depends of the size. I didn't do it personally, but I know some agent who booked the whole ship. So of course, when you have that kind of level, you can expect another level of discounts and incentives, of course. Yeah. But it's not every day that someone can book a ship.
No, that's for sure. But if they're going to go anyway, and they're able to get in a small group, and even if you got a $25 onboard credit for like a cruise, you know what I would use that for? 2 honeycomb drinks.
Yeah, just listen back to our episodes from a month ago when we talk about honeycomb.
Yeah, one for each cheek, and to do that.
No, but it's true that it's always good to try to leverage friends and family when you do something, because it doesn't cost you nothing to ask. And worst case scenario, you get the price that you have. Best case scenario, you get a supplement. Yeah. So that's definitely an advantage to share the destination you're going to and try to get more people. So eventually it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah. Although for some people, I think when they think about maybe some of their family, they're like, you know what? I think I'll just call my agent and see if there's any group rate available. I can take part of someone else's group that's strangers.
I know. But I had that.
I'm teasing.
No, but it's true. But I had that recently with a request for celebrity, and then I looked in the system, and then in our system we can see the pricing, the individual pricing, and then if there is a group pricing, they will put that in the back office very clearly for us to see. Hey, there is like group pricing there, and then you look and you realize, oh my God, there's a difference of like $400-$500 to just take the group pricing. The group is open. Okay, let's lock it in. And also a misconception. When you go and it's part of a group, it doesn't mean you need to be with those people. Now, because I heard that. Like, oh my God, yeah, but I don't know those people. Well, it's fine. You will still don't know them at the end. Because, it's just literally just logistically. It's not like you're going to be
having
next to
dinner
each other. You don't, dinner at the sale table. It's absolutely nothing to do with that. Yeah. Of course, if it's your group, you can request all of that. But it's not something that if you are in a group tarification, those people who create the group will not have your name and know what. Now there's literally nothing. So it's just more for the travel agent and the cruise line or the resort that knows that it's coming from a group pricing, but that doesn't mean people needs to be traveling together.
Yeah, really. In that way, maybe one way to think about it, I'm not sure if this is a great way. It's like, hey, the group is organized by the agent, not necessarily by the client, because the agent is the one putting the things together versus, like when people know each other and do it. So get it. So, obviously for anyone who's ever tried to book their own groups, takes an immense amount of time, right? Trying to coordinate all that effort, facilitate it, contact the vendors and stuff like that. So that's obviously a given. But what are some other advantages? We mentioned pricing incentives. Certainly time savings would be a huge one. But any other advantages people should consider why to use a travel agent when trying to set up groups for travel destinations?
Yeah, I think you nailed it by saying the handling of everything. Because if you want your group to be able to do those activities together, because in this case, it could be a private group that we're talking about. So, and make sure that people have the room that they want to have, the experience they want to have, if it's a wedding or if it's a top performer, like kind of trip that we discussed earlier. You want to make sure that everybody, like the flights are coordinated properly to arrive on time, for whatever events they need to be at. So there are a lot to think about. And the last thing that people want is to have to deal with that. And again, we come back to the same principle. You do not pay unless the agency are charging you service fee, which I think it should be a given. When you are doing groups, large groups, it's a lot of work for a travel agent. But in this case, for us, for example, we do not charge extra service fees. So it changed nothing for you to use us or to try to do everything yourself, because the price is the price. Mm-hmm. We may get better pricing because of the group we are part of, or Travel Holdings, but we're not going to be more expensive than if you go directly to the website. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not talking third parties, because that's another story for another day. But for official websites that you are going to go for bookings, it's going to be the same price for me, because we have the same platforms.
Right.
So there is no disadvantages, but there's a ton of advantages, because you don't have, as a group leader, you don't have to take care of everything. You just set clear expectations, and that's the expectation that I have for the group leader. Mm-hmm. Set clear expectation with your guest. Hey, I hire this person to take care of everything you need. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to do your flight yourself, it's fine, but he can take care of that. The hotel, the transfers, the travel protection if needed, activities on site, if we do activities as a group or not. Mm-hmm. So that person will take care of everything. So here are the couple of options that you can do. And that's it. The problem we have, or the problem I have, I will say my experience when I do group, I like it a lot because I get to know a lot more people. Mm. I just enjoy, the relationship building with people. But if every single person in the group have their own little specification that they want to add, that's pretty much not possible, because that's the same principle like for everything else in life. It's not possible to please everybody. And
Right.
when you are in a group, you have different style of people, different personalities, and people said, "Oh, I don't like the beach." Well, the group is at the resort in Hawaii. Like, you will be at the beach, like, so there are like some things that we can, so it's impossible to please everybody, but we always do the best we can in order to make sure that the coordination is the best possible for everybody. The only thing I ask is like, make sure to set clear expectation as a group leader to make sure the group understand what the expectation is with the travel agent. But the paperwork, once everything is done, like, each person receive their packages with their paper related to their family. If it's a trip with significant other and kids or stuff like that. If not, well, they still need to figure it out, the payment system. So we take care of that individually. So the leader of the group don't have to figure it out, all those things themselves, because we take care of that. So that's a huge benefit to have one person of contact for everything travel related. If it's a wedding, I don't personally do the wedding itself, but I partner with people like wedding planner. So, again, you have the contact will be us, but we partner with the wedding planner who will be able to take care of everything related to the wedding day itself, for example.
My understanding is, though, that you end up being the wedding singer.
Yeah. But I mean, I can do it, depending on how much money they send. How much money they're willing to pay, because I'm expensive.
I don't know.
I'm very expensive.
They may charge you because the ears, they'll have some damaged ears. And I say that knowing that my voice is probably even worse than yours.
No, probably, and that. So I'm always willing to sing, but you just ask for the price, and it's maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah. I know you can sing one song. I will say it here, but I know you can sing that one because we made you do it for karaoke.
Exactly. I didn't back off, actually. So I was not the guy who said, "No, I don't want to do it." I actually did it. Not like someone else.
Too, but
I didn't.
I did so.
They didn't.
I didn't know the song.
Oh, please. Everybody know Britney Spears.
Not every song. Oh, I know Britney Spears. I don't know all her songs.
Anyway.
Yeah, we digress. All right. All right. So, yeah, and actually we'll be in that same area here next week. Yeah. Fun times. Yeah. What are some tips and tricks to consider about preparing for group travel, or what are some common challenges about group travel beyond what you just kind of covered?
Yeah.
People should be aware of.
I think that unless you really know where you want to go and what you want to do, when you want to do something, for example, I will take here like a family trip. So like you decide to do, like, we have a lot of people who contact us and said, "Hey, we do once a year like a family trip." It can be a cruise, it can be a resort, anything. Well, unless you know 100% what you want to do, just come in with open mind, because we know places that you may not think about. So that's not 100% the question you asked, but it's more about the fact that make sure to have an open mind. As long as I know the budget, if we know the budget, we may suggest something you don't think about that may be the best option.
Like excursions, not just destinations, but
it can be for both. It can be for both. So, I remember last year I had someone saying like, "Well, me and my family, we have like 12 rooms for 12 rooms. So it was like 25 people or 30 people with the kids. Forgot exactly how many people it was, but it was a large group. And they said, "Well, we were thinking to do a cruise and do Carnival." And I'm like, okay. So I talk more about what they need, what they really want to do. Well, it's a time to be all together. Everybody have a good time, but we have different, age category. We have some children, we have some young adult with older adult and grandparents. So it's like, we need to be able to. And then by asking more questions and by realizing what their budget was, we were able to do like a trip in Mexico that was actually cheaper than what they would have paid for a cruise in Carnival, where they were in a place where there's like literally like a children's side, and then there was like the adult side. If the grandparents wants to keep the children at night, 1 or 2 nights maybe, the younger adult can go and have some good time, like in the resort, in the like disco.
Oh, so they did land.
They did land instead of that, and they had an amazing experience. And then now they contact me back already for this year. And this year we're going to be doing a cruise, probably Norwegian on this one. But it's just to say that sometimes you think about something because you heard or you saw someone doing something similar, but the travel agent can really help with those steps. So keep an open mind and realize that we have a lot of experience and options based on everybody's budget. And we can do that. The good thing also about budget is that you may have a group of people with different budgets. That's when it can be more tricky. Of course, the easiest way to understand that if you talk cruising is, well, there are different room categories.
Sure.
So you can have someone with a suite, someone with a balcony, someone ocean view or interior room. So you have different options. So you can have, same with wedding. I do, as you know, a lot of wedding cruise. Well, that's super easy because usually the weds stay in the suite, presidential suite or whatever suite they stay at. And then you have their guests can choose. So they contact me. I said, here are the 4 options. And then they just pick the package that's best for them. End of story.
Yeah.
Okay. For resort is a little bit more tricky, but it's still possible. You have ocean view, you have like pool view, you have garden view or whatever you have. But if it's Vegas, usually people like to stay, for example, Vegas or New York, it would be the same thing. People like to stay in the same hotel. But I have instances when some people decide to go to another hotel because that hotel is too expensive for them. It's good. But just so you know, when you do group rates, it's usually group rates within the hotel. So if someone wants to stay in another hotel, the group rate will not apply for that couple.
Yeah.
So there are options. We very flexible. We can help in different ways, but always keep in mind that there are so much we can do because we are not magicians.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. I mean, I think I even learned some things with that, and I think it's a great chance. So again, if you're an individual traveler or a couple, contact Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. Maybe there's an open group slot available, especially if you're planning the trip in advance, you can take advantage of. But if you're part of, and that would be more of the public group, but if you're doing the private group, do yourself the favor, save yourself an immense amount of time, leverage an expert like from Nick Menard and Associates at Dream Vacations to help with the group travel, and just focus on having that amazing experience versus the logistical challenges that might sometimes arise, especially for larger groups.
Yeah, if I can add something.
Sure.
Something we do, and you probably, for people who used to use a travel agent, you probably heard about cruise night, for example. So cruise night is a time, and that's a good way for you to be able to build a group. You may not have enough people so far, but you may be able to get more traction by organizing a cruise night, for example. It's possible to do nights for a lot of different things than cruising. Like we talked safari, more to come, but it's a lot of other options to do. But cruise nights are the most popular. So a cruise night is literally an hour where you schedule a webinar, like a Zoom call with the travel agent, and we will have a specialist of the cruise line. For example, we do like a Virgin. Okay. So I will have someone like from Virgin who will be there to explain what to expect and to set expectation, like I mentioned, but also show the experience with some videos and the feel of what it's going to be, option of pricing. A lot of time those cruise nights have like a special offer that if people who are present on the cruise night online and decides to pull the trigger within 5 days, or, it can depend, but they get an extra $100, $200 like onboard credit or whatever, a free upgrade or something like that. And so it's something that travel agent use, but also clients. So if you're thinking, oh my God, I know I want to go. I will have my friend X and my friend Y who come with me. So, but maybe we can have more people. Well, talk to your travel agent and explain to them, hey, when can we have a cruise night with X, whoever? And we can schedule that usually a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance. So you guys have time to advertise it.
Yeah.
And then, I have time also to figure it out who can join from the company itself, because those are the most powerful people to present their brands.
Oh, sure.
And then you may be surprised the amount of people who will be interested to join you for your next trip. So another thing to take into consideration, that's got to be the same price or better. So that's what I'm saying. When you have nothing to lose, just an hour of your time to listen and to see things, and that's going to be motivating you even more to leave for your next vacation. I think that's an all positive.
No, that's a great point, and I'm sure a lot of people weren't aware of those type of things. So that's awesome. Any other last thoughts around group travel you want to share with our winners to illuminate some opportunities for them?
Don't be afraid to ask, because the problem with a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know. So ask travel agent, hey, what would you advertise? What would you suggest us to do in order to maybe, get a better pricing or get more options? And that may be one option. So think about using a travel agent and ask them all those questions, and you may be surprised by some answers you get.
So there you go, winner. So for those of you who are thinking around upcoming travel, you just heard of a way where maybe you can have an even augmented experience one way or the other by considering group travel. So thank you for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, winners, that'll wrap up this episode of Wanderlust Wednesday. Please be sure to join us next Wanderlust Wednesday. We have a guest we'll be interviewing, really a fascinating person and experience that we'd be really excited to bring to everybody. So in the interim, please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow. If this is your first time listening, thank you for joining us, and hope you join us for future episodes. We will have Fanatic Friday coming up in 2 days, and we will see you then. Take care, winners. Be well.
Bye, winners.